match of the week in the BAM Creative Night Series was the quarter-final between ECU Joondalup and the Western Knights and was played at 6PR Stadium. Both teams were coming off 6-0 victories last weekend, with the Knights defeating Mandurah and Joondalup defeating Swan United, so a tight game was expected. The Knights kicked off, and it was not long before they'd forced a corner. Jukic swung the ball in from the right and Verseko directed his header goalwards. It struck the crossbar with the keeper beaten, but bounced out and Joondalup scrambled the ball clear. The Knights were knocking the ball around confidently, Jukic combining with Hind before receiving the ball from Shackleton. His misdirected pass gave away possession, but he soon regained it and Verseko fed Montgomery wide on the right. He made space for himself and crossed to the back post, where the best Dawson could do was win a corner off Josh Brook. Ben Kelly surged forward for Joondalup, looked up and played the ball to John Thornley, who skipped away from the Knights defender and was then brought down by Jukic. John Higgins stepped up to take the free kick, but it sailed harmlessly wide of Siddle's right-hand post. Soon after, a long clearance from Andy Banks was flicked on to Benson Cooper, who was clipped by Anal, and another free kick was awarded to Joondalup. This time Higgins whipped the ball into the box and Oliver McGee just failed to make contact to give Joondalup the lead. The Knights were always looking to play the ball out of defence, and Anal fed Thomas. He in turn found Montgomery, who threaded a ball into the path of Roberts, who lined up a shot but lifted it over the crossbar. Minutes later, Verseko fed Shackleton on halfway for the Knights. He eased past Steins and returned the ball to Verseko, who crossed. Banks misjudged the flight, Montgomery tried to pounce, but Kelly scrambled the ball away from Roberts. As half-time approached, a Banks clearance fell to Jukic. He played the ball blindly across the park, only to pick out Joondalup's Higgins, who advanced on the box, took on Hind and then fed Steins, whose shot struck Lecky's arm and the referee pointed to the penalty spot. John Thornley sent Siddle the wrong way and Joondalup had the lead. A clever ball from Higgins to Steins, and Lecky's arm moves towards the ball as he shoots, leaving the referee no choice but to award the penalty. The second half saw the Knights come out with purpose, and a sweeping move taking in Thomas, Lecky and Hind saw Thomas feed Roberts, whose first-time ball found Montgomery in space. No one closed him down, so he advanced and shot, but Banks saved his deflected effort superbly. The Knights almost found themselves 2 goals down when Siddle's short free kick saw Lecky out-muscled by Blackmore, whose long-range effort was saved spectacularly by a retreating Siddle. The Knights kept pressing for an equaliser, and Jukic's cross fell to Verseko at the edge of the box, but once again he failed to keep his shot down. Captain David Anal started to push forward for the Knights and found Hind in space on the right. His high cross looped to Dawson at the back post, but Banks saved easily. In the 74th minute, the Knights looked to have lost possession, but then Thomas quickly won the ball back and fed Montgomery, who looked to play in Roberts with a ball over the top. Roberts did well to hold off McGee and slipped the ball to Mikulic. Banks couldn't get enough on the ball and it squirmed over the line for a Knights equaliser. McGee appeared to get a nudge from Roberts, who stayed calm and picked out Mikulic in space. The keeper went down well, but the shot just squirmed underneath him and into the back of the net. 1-1. Within 3 minutes, Joondalup were back in front. Ross Lang's head stole the ball off Anal and inadvertently fed Thornley, who picked out the run of Higgins wide on the left. He cut back, fed Ross Edwards, who played the ball back for Thornley, As he turned to shoot, the referee deemed Anal had clipped him, and Joondalup had a second penalty. Up stepped Thornley again, with exactly the same result, sending Siddle the wrong way and taking his and Joondalup's tally to 2. Thornley shields the ball well and now goes to ground, and the question is, did he just clip the heel of Thornley? The referee thought so, and he's the only man that matters. The Knights had it all to do again, and they didn't waste any time getting back on level terms. Thomas picked out Dawson on the left, who clipped the ball to Vaseko. He held off Lang, cut inside McGee and hammered the ball home. 2-2. Great skill inside the box from Vaseko to beat Lang, Kelly, avoid the lunge of McGee and set Banks the wrong way. A top draw finish. But as great a finish as that was, a dreadful piece of defending would see them surrender the lead again. Ferguson looked to switch play, but played the ball to Andy Brown, who cushioned it into the path of Thornley, who found himself one-on-one with Siddle and side-footed home to restore Joondalup's lead and secure his own hat-trick. An awful ball by Ferguson, cushioned well by Andy Brown, and Thornley has a clear run at goal and calmly side-foots past Siddle for his third against his former club. When the final whistle sounded less than a minute later, Joondalup had prevailed and were through to the semi-final. And last year's losing finalists, the Western Knights, were out of the BAM Creative Night Series.
So Andy, what were your thoughts on today's performance after a pretty tense finish there?
Yeah, I think it's a great game for the supporter out there today. I thought, first half I thought we sort of dominated at times and weren't really in trouble, took the 1-0 lead. But, second half we let them back in it a bit. We got ourselves back in front and let them back in again. So, yeah, it was a tense finish at the end, but I'm quite happy with the win.
Who do you think stood out for you guys today? You had a couple of good performances, but who do you think stood out?
Obviously, JT, John Thornley, he's got the hat-trick there. Okay, a couple of penalties, but, he put himself about all day. But I think, all 11 players, even the subs, they came on and worked their butts off for 90 minutes, and it's still quite a warm night out there, and they've done themselves proud.
Have you been happy with the team's training in pre-season and things going well, ready for the season?
Yeah, it's gone really well. We had a suspension tonight and maybe a couple of injuries. That could have been different players down there. But results-wise, we're more than happy with it. We've got some young kids who are standing up and being counted out there, which is good. I think we'll have a good, healthy, competitive squad this season.
And just finally, what do you think the boys need to improve on as heading into the season?
I suppose just a little bit on the fitness side. It's hard with. We're still in the competition now, so we have to be careful what fitness work we do. But besides that, it's just confidence. As long as we keep winning and playing that way, that'll breed even better player.
All right, thanks, Andy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, fellas. Cheers.